I want to just ask of you a couple of questions about the BIE school system. I think by any measurement they are failing. Facts are stubborn things, as President Reagan used to say. Half of BIE students don't graduate high school. BIE test scores trail by double digits compared to native students who attend non-BIE schools. Many schools struggle with teacher retention, and some schools are unfit for human habitation. And let me mention a couple of examples to you. One school spent $3.5 million on a new roof, but the roof continued to leak and classrooms later developed mold. Another school spent $1.5 million to build a garage for their school bus, and the school bus didn't fit. In Arizona alone, most of our 19 BIE schools had not been inspected in almost 10 years. Now the BIE and BIA says they have inspected all the schools. BIE doesn't keep track of the money they give to tribally operated schools. One school wired $1.7 million to an offshore account in a phishing scam and was only able to recover $500,000. Another school illegally loaned out $1.2 million to a non-Indian school district, and we are now spending an estimated $15,000 per student per year, higher than the national average, as you know. So it's difficult to justify providing BIA with more funding now that GAO has deemed them a high-risk agency. So, Mr. Secretary, I would argue that if there's one thing we owe our Native Americans, it's to give their children a decent education. Statistic after statistic shows we're not doing that. And I believe that one of the options that ought to be examined is charter schools. Give parents a choice. Allow charter schools to have an opportunity to provide them with an option. And I'm not saying that's the answer, but I am saying the status quo is not acceptable. It's an obligation, a solemn treaty obligation we made that we would provide health and education to our Native Americans as they signed treaties that gave up their land and their rights. So I would hope you would give this issue some priority. It's not a new issue, but it seems to me, from my 30 years experience on this committee, that the situation is not getting any better. And in the view of many, I think Senator Udall would agree with me that the situation is getting worse. So I hope you'll take this as a priority and maybe give us a report on the physical conditions of the BIE schools in my home state.